whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, because on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the...
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken heart. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. The beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the...
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this started. Ain't time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the...
Now 20 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been the death of pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor,
baby. Yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on baby.
Feel the groove, get on the floor.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Gotta get on up. What's up, family? Welcome, welcome. B1, Bookie, the realist out here, Danielle, Darius. Of course, we know Danielle gets sleepy. She's got an infant. It's no surprise. How we doing, everyone? Welcome, welcome, welcome to another exciting edition of the hottest live stream here on YouTube and on Twitter at GavinRich2786 or GBoot and Gavin Richard. If you're watching on those channels, we appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in. We want to bring in our guest, our friend of the channel, Brother Shawn James. Shawn, of course, is always a pleasure, and is the host of his own live stream that he does on Fridays. You all are aware. What's going on, Brother Shawn?
I'm good, Gavin. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Can you turn your volume up a little bit? I can hear you in your mic.
All right. Well, let's see what happens here.
Okay, it's a little better. But you can hear me pretty good. Everybody can hear me.
I can hear you well.
All right. Shawn, if you like, you want to do a plug-in right quick?
All right. Well, my new book, John Haynes: A Death's Door, is now available in paperback and Kindle format. And if you'd like to pick up a copy, you can head over to Amazon.com and get the latest book in the John Haynes series.
All right. Y'all go ahead and do that. I also ask if you would like to support me, you can go to my Facebook page, subscribe to Commonwealth Cause, and purchase Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby on Kindle, ladies and gentlemen. Shawn, we're going to start off with, obviously, this news here. Kevin McCarthy has had more strikeouts, has basically had more no-hitters ever since the Rocket retired. Y'all know who baseball is. That would be Roger Clemens. He's known for pitching out no-hitters and pitching no-hitters. And Kevin McCarthy has been trying, as you all may know, there's a new House that's in, and it's led by the Republicans. However, there's been so much infighting between them that they have not been able to accept the speaker, to the point that Kevin McCarthy has been running, I believe this is his 11th time trying to get the House Speaker vote, and has not gotten it. This happened earlier today. And in fact, this has been going on for 3 days in a row.
Their tallies that the total number of votes cast is 432,
by the way,
of which the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries of the state of New York has received 212. The Honorable Kevin McCarthy of the state of California has received 200. The Honorable Byron Donalds of the state of Florida has received 13. The Honorable Kevin Hearn of the state of Oklahoma has received 7, with 1 answering present. No mayor-elect having received a majority of the votes cast, a speaker has not been elected.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel.
So you're talking about Hakeem Jeffries, who's out of New York, who got 212 votes to be Speaker of the House versus McCarthy, who's at 201. The Republicans don't want Kevin McCarthy out of California. And they've tried to bring and get other people to come in. someone else that could vote that could possibly be the nominee. There basically is a civil war between in the Republican Party. But Shawn, I want to know a little bit now. This is historic because McCarthy's tried 11 times. They say 10 was actually 11 times, and he's continuously lost. He's continuously been on a losing streak. Shawn, have you been following this? If you have, and I assume you are, have been, why do you think what is the issue you believe with the infighting, and why Republicans can't get it together?
Well, this is just another day in the pathetic states of America. And this is what's happening here with Kevin McCarthy is the fact that we have a problem here in America with leadership. And what we're seeing with this whole thing with the Speaker of the House is that Americans just don't have any sort of direction for where they want to go. I mean, they can't. What we see here with this whole Speaker of the House vote is a reflection of the dysfunction that's going on in this country. The fact that nobody here sees how bad that they look, because when you can't simply elect a Speaker of the House, it says that there is nobody leading the country. It's saying that we don't have anybody with a vision or a direction for where they want to go. And we saw that with the 2022 midterms, where we basically saw the country not looking to go out here and vote in a way that would say, hey, we got to turn this country around. I mean, you have Americans saying, hey, we're going in the wrong direction, but you just sat there and voted for the same political party that forced jab mandates down your throat and have basically run the country into inflation. You're just sitting there and you keep making the same bad decisions over and over again. And when I look at the whole Kevin McCarthy situation, it's like the definition of insanity. You keep doing the exact same things and expecting a different result. The same 20 guys who don't like Kevin McCarthy because he's a moderate keep voting against him, and you're going to keep getting the same result if you keep voting for the exact same guy. And instead of just admitting, okay, he's not going to work out, it's time to go in a new direction, they keep doing the exact same thing, hoping that eventually somebody will elect this guy who arrogantly went out here and moved himself into the Speaker's office, assuming that he had it, instead of understanding that maybe you needed to understand that the country is tired of the lack of direction from the left and the right, and you don't have a vision for where you want to go. And what I see here, sadly, is dysfunction on display, because with this whole situation, the country is going nowhere because you have to elect a speaker in order for the government to start business. And what they're doing right now is the entire country is being held up. And this goes beyond party. This is, again, about the failure of American leadership. And this is a problem I see going on all across this country. Nobody wants to lead. People want the power, they want the position, but they don't want the responsibility of the position. And what we're seeing here is people want to throw your Kevin McCarthy out. And when you ask them, okay, who's going to take the job? They're acting like a bunch of females. And then they're going, well, I don't know who's going to, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? I mean, what we have here, again, is a failure of leadership, which is a problem here with America overall. And this whole situation with the House, again, is embarrassing for the country as related to us internationally, because when you can't go out here and set leadership direction for your legislative branch, it's embarrassing because it just shows that the country is completely out of order.
Okay, well, I gotta ask you this because you're in New York. I agree with you. The country is out of order. What are your thoughts? Now, I don't believe he's in your district, but Hakeem Jeffries. What are your thoughts on him possibly being the first African American Speaker of the House? And
another empty suit, because what he basically is just another one of these empty suits who just talks a good game but does absolutely nothing for anyone. I mean, he's just as lost and directionless as your Kevin McCarthy and the rest of these idiots who are in Washington right now. None of these people have a backbone or some stones to stand up for anything. And your Hakeem Jeffries, he's just another one of these bootlicks who just sits up here, says what the people want to hear. And because people just see him as the black guy who says what they want to hear, they go along with him. But he's just another Barack Obama, another big talker who talks a good game, but there's no tangibles given back to the black community. I mean, outside of his, he's black on the outside, but he's not for black people at all. So when I look at your heart, he's just a certified clown. And no matter who gets the speaker's title, nobody wins at the end of the day, especially foundational black Americans.
Yeah. So he's basically like another Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I've noticed with Obama, he doesn't have that same impact like he did 10 years ago with people and with audience. A lot of people have not shown, a lot of people are not paying attention to him and what he has to say as of late. But that's Kevin McCarthy. He's lost 10 times in a row. The Democrats are obviously happy that the Republicans have this problem.
Well, neither one of them see where they're going. They just don't see where they're going. They're so caught up in their feelings about taking out the evil Republican. They can't see the nation looks bad, because if you can't get your government started, you're going nowhere. You're just stuck in a holding pattern. And again, this is what beta males do. They're so caught up in their feelings about getting the other guy, they can't see that they're getting themselves. And they can't see that, okay, if he can't pick a Speaker of the House, then we're not going anywhere for the next, as long as it takes.
Right. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. We live here. I'm not really, I don't know about you, but I haven't, Sean, I'm not really sold percent on these, on what's going on here in Congress. We know Congress's approval rating. I want to show everybody this. This is the approval rating for Congress. This is the current from the Gallup poll. Now, of course, these are from we just entered in 2023. So this is the Gallup poll on Congress and the public, and it says here, the approve or disapprove of the way Congress is handling its job. And as you go down and look at it, only 22% of Americans approve of Congress. 73% disapprove, and 5% have no opinion. So this is 5% of people who don't even care about you. 22% of the people who are clueless, in my opinion, about what's going on. But 73% of the people see through it. And look at this. It's been going in January of this year. It was 80% of last year, excuse me. December of 2020, it was 80%. So have you noticed it goes up and down, but it's still always in the disapproval ranking. And it has been like that for a long time. If you look at it here, even from 2017, 67 in January, 76% disapproved. It's always been high. And this is even in the Obama years, in the 80s. So a lot of people are just out of touch. People are out of touch with Americans, the average Americans now. Let me ask you, Sean, do you see this having any effect now with the presidential elections that's going to be coming up in 2024? Do you think what we have here will either trickle down and have some type of impact?
I don't really think it's going to have an effect, because as I've seen with the pathetic states of America, these Americans just keep going back and voting for the exact same people and then expect a different result. I mean, it's the definition of insanity. I mean, most Americans, they already saw how bad this Congress was before, yet they go back and vote for the exact same people over and over again. So I have to wonder, who's worse? Is it the bad Congress, or is the bad Congress a reflection of the pathetic we the people?
Yeah. All right, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Give it a shout out to Shawn James. You can buy or purchase one of Shawn James's books. on including the new John Haynes, latest John Haynes series on Amazon.com. You can also donate to his Cash App. Of course, you all see the ticker at the bottom where you all can support me. As you know, the channel is not monetized, so anything you contribute and donate is appreciative. Is appreciative, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be happy if you did that. I got some good news today, and this is going to lead into part of our topic. As of today, it was reported, and now, of course, everybody knows what happened to Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin as he made a tackle back on a Monday Night Football game in the game against the Bengals. The safety collapsed, suffering cardiac arrest on the field, and had to be revived on the football field. The game was subsequently postponed, and we learned that the game now has been officially canceled by the NFL. Damar Hamlin, earlier today, doctors gave an update on his health and what's been going on lately. And I will play the news, play this video for you, ladies and gentlemen, just letting you know what has happened now is he's made a remarkable turnaround.
Hands and feet. And right now, he's still unable to speak. CBS's Charlie DeMar has more.
Doctors at the University of Cincinnati say over the past 24 hours, Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin has shown remarkable improvement. He's awake and communicating with them in writing.
Still has a breathing tube in and is able to communicate with yeses and nos by shaking his head. He was expressed surprise that he had been, not with the world for 2 days.
Doctors say Hamlin is still critically ill, but appears to be neurologically intact. They say Hamlin can move his hands and feet, and he even asked if his team won the game.
The answer is yes. Damar, you won. You've won the game of life.
The second-year player has been in critical condition since Monday after he collapsed, went into cardiac arrest.
Oh, bring everybody. You need to airway doctor, everybody.
Newly obtained audio from the New York Times captured the urgency from emergency responders. Dr. Timothy Fritz says Hamlin's immediate care by the Bills' medical staff on the field is what saved his life.
This was not a run-of-the-mill injury, and that they had a significant event in their hands and immediately responded.
Today, Buffalo Bills star quarterback Josh Allen says his teammates are grateful for the progress Hamlin's making.
We heard that news this morning, and we're extremely happy for him and his family.
Still, Hamlin's doctors say he has a long way to go in his recovery.
There are many, many steps still ahead of him. From our standpoint, we would like to see him continue to improve, to be completely breathing on his own.
At this point, Hamlin's doctors say it is too early to determine what caused the cardiac arrest. And when asked if Hamlin could ever return to the football field, his doctors say right now their focus is on getting him home. Nora?
Charlie DeMar, thank you so much.
It's obviously some good news to hear that brother Damar Hamlin is getting better. Shawn, I know you don't follow sports, but I'm sure you would have to be living under a rock if you didn't know what was this story, because it was trending on Twitter. It was #1 on every news channel because it happened on live television. Seeing his collapse, I'm sure you saw it. So this is going to lead into the next thing. Have you heard about this with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe on Undisputed going over Skip Bayless's tweet?
Yes, I've heard about that.
Did you get a chance to see Skip's tweet?
I saw the tweet, and it was extremely insensitive and just showed how he just sees black people.
Now, a lot of people have come to Skip Bayless's defense. Even your Stephen A. Smith said he's not going to judge Skip Bayless, but we know we're all about Stephen A. Smith, don't we? And we've had our issues with Shannon, but Shannon Sharpe visibly was not at Undisputed at their show on Tuesday. needing Skip Bayless to do the show by himself that day. And we all saw video that Skip Bayless had to explain the tweet in part, at least telling his owners, his bosses from Fox Sports 1, to talk about the tweet on Tuesday. Because I saw it, and while I saw the tweet, and a lot of people say, well, he was asking the same questions as Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were about whether the game would be played or not, because they were asking how does the NFL go from that. Skip Bayless has a history of being a dirtbag, and that doesn't work for him. So I think that there is some merit there with that, but honestly, he doesn't deserve for a lot of people, he doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt. And to me, in a way, it was still insensitive because we should not even be talking about the game. And if you read it, he says, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game. But how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. So he's saying it's irrelevant, but he's saying, how is the NFL considering postponing this game? And he tried to explain why he was saying that, putting his thinking of that in the owner's mind and so forth. And he didn't apologize for the tweet. So I'm going to play it, but of course I can't show the video because they'll give me ScrewTube will give me a copyright strike. But what I can do is just play the audio for you, which I'll play again. And I don't know if Sean's heard this, but we're going to play it for you all.
I think it needs to be amended. I mean, with
twice already. My first tweet ended with that I just said a prayer for Damar and his family. My second tweet was about so many horrific injuries, but this is very different in all caps. And then came my third tweet, which I believe was widely misconstrued, misinterpreted. I don't follow what's happening on Twitter. I just tweet. But my boss here at Fox called and said, hey, people are really reacting strongly to your tweet. Maybe you should clarify, which I immediately did. But my first tweet was simply, as a journalist, I was putting myself in the heads of the NFL executives, starting with Roger Goodell, who are having to figure out on the fly what to do here. And I stated the glaringly obvious, which is that no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of the game. This is right in the middle of the vortex of this situation when it was unclear what they were going to do with the game. But I made the point that this late in the season, that with a game of this magnitude, it's very difficult to postpone it. Yet the end of my tweet was, all of which suddenly seems so irrelevant. For the first time in the history of the NFL, my point was, it was all rendered irrelevant by what was happening on the football field in front of all those football players, those gladiators, those warriors. They were shaken to their foundations. So I immediately didn't retweet, I just clarified. And I'll state it again, nothing is more important than that young man's health. That was the point of my last tweet. I'm sorry if that was misunderstood, but his health is all that matters. Again, everything else is irrelevant. I prayed for him, and I will continue to pray for him. That's what I tweeted at the end of the night. I did pray for Damar and his family soon after it happened, and again before I went to sleep last night. And I didn't sleep much, knowing that we did have a show that we might or might not do.
Okay. So y'all heard that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he was told, so we heard him say out of his own mouth, he read his tweets, he tried to explain what he was saying, but we did hear that his employers at Fox Sports told him, hey, you need to clarify this. We got to do something because it was trending. And if you looked at it, it was viewed. I was looking at the Twitter analytics. That tweet had over 166 million viewers. I even responded to it. I wasn't a fan of what he was saying. And let's be real, Undisputed doesn't really work without Shannon Sharpe, if you follow it. But, and he said, and you heard him comment on it, so I'm not going to go back over it, but I do want to play Shannon Sharpe's response because noticeably, if you saw the video, Shannon was not there, as I stated earlier. But let's go ahead. I'm going to play the clip so you all can hear it. And I'm going to, of course, I'm not going to play the video, but I'm going to play the clip.
And welcome into Undisputed here on FS1.
So y'all can hear the audio.
That is Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, good to see you. Shannon, I understand it's something you want to share this morning.
Good morning, yes.
Good morning.
There's been a lot of speculation of why I wasn't on air yesterday, and I won't get into speculation or conjecture, innuendo, but I will say this. In watching that game on Monday night, what happened to Damar Hamlin struck me a little different. As a brotherhood in the NFL, when injuries happen, when we know injuries are a part of the game, I've seen guys suffer ACLs and Achilles tear, but I've never seen anybody have to be revived and fight for their life on the field. So they struck me a little differently because I remember seeing my brother paralyzed on the field temporarily, and he was able to regain focus. Skip tweeted something, and although I disagree with the tweet, and hopefully Skip would take it down, but I didn't want it.
Well, time out. I'm not going to take it down because I stand by what I tweeted.
Skip, let me finish.
All right. Okay.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Go ahead. Let's go, Jen.
Okay.
I mean, I cannot even get through a monologue without you interrupting me.
Well,
you could have came back, Skip.
Well, I thought
Skip, just let.
I didn't know you were going to bring up.
No, I was just going to say, Skip. I didn't want to yesterday to get into a situation where Damar Hamlin was the issue. We should have been talking about him and not get into your tweet. That's what I was going to. But you can't even let me finish my opening monologue without you interrupting.
Okay. I was under the impression you weren't going to bring this up because nobody here had a problem with that tweet.
No. Clearly, the boss wanted you to offer explanation. Clearly.
No, they did not have. Nobody.
Thoughts and prayers remain with Damar Hamlin.
That's where the focus should have been, and not on the football. Yes, let's go, Jen. Thank you.
As he continues his fight. All right, gentlemen, let's jump into our first topic.
All right. So Shannon was upset. Obviously, he missed. There was speculation. He didn't get into it too much, but he did basically hint that he didn't really want to get into it over the tweet. So essentially what he was saying is he didn't want to reach over and have to slap Skip Bayless over that tweet. Just judging by his body language, as you can see how upset he was. He talked about how the NFL is a brotherhood. He never saw anything like that. Yes, there have been significant injuries. People have gotten paralyzed playing football games that I have seen. I've seen people get their legs. Joe Theismann broke his leg on a Monday Night Football game when he was sacked by Lawrence Taylor, which was gruesome. I saw Shannon Sharpe himself actually broke his arm. He broke his arm playing for the Denver Broncos because that dirty-ass Bill Romanowski broke his arm on purpose. I remember that. But obviously nothing where a person collapses and has to be revived, shocked back to life. Brother Shawn, you saw the video. Your thoughts about this with Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless? Do you think this has come up for Shannon Sharpe? Why is Shannon Sharpe still on First Take? If you look at, and we can get into that, but what are your thoughts?
Well,
I'm sorry,
your
I meant undisputed.
Well, your Skip Bayless basically is showing us the racist he truly is, because when I looked at that tweet on Twitter, I mean, this was just showing me that this man is just another white supremacist, because he had no regard for that young man's life at all. I mean, he was like the overseers and on the slave masters plantation, more interested in seeing the game continue to go on, not ever thinking about the injury of this man who could possibly be dying on the field. And again, this is the mindset of many on the NFL slave plantation. They basically do not care about these players. They're all, again, slaves on their plantation.
They have
And
the
can
worst
be,
pension plans too.
yeah. And they basically just all they care about is like he's like another labor slave on that plantation. And if he dies, he dies. We can get another one. And that's the whole mindset that they have over at the NFL slave plantation. And we got the true feelings of your Skip Bayless in that original tweet. And what they want to do is try to cover it up, make it look nice. Oh, he didn't really mean it. Oh, he was trying. It's like you're trying to try to explain this racist, but the racist already showed you his true colors. And I don't think your Shannon Sharpe is a bootlick, but even went so far that even a bootlick couldn't justify what this man was saying, because he basically showed us in less than 2 weeks that he's basically a racist and a white supremacist who basically has no regard for black life and sees black people like the slave owners on that plantation see black people. They basically see all of us as just cattle and fodder for their NFL franchises, and an easy way for them to make money at the expense of all of those black bucks on the plantation. And that's the sad part about this whole thing, because with the Skip Bayless, again, he's basically just showing us that your NFL owners have no respect, and your people who support the NFL don't have any respect for black people. And that's the thing that most black people really need to think about as related to this situation: how little regard they have for a black man's life who was hurt on their field, basically about almost possibly lost his life. They cared nothing about him as a person, and all they cared about was getting back to their game so they could get back to the playoffs, make their money. And that's all they cared about at the end of the day was just using a black man as fodder for their little business.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a buck. You're not a human being. You're a bed buck. You're a buck.
Yeah.
Go back out there. Yeah, I mean, do you know that they actually were going to give them 5 minutes to recover before they were going to bring the game back on? And it was the players and coaches, not the NFL, but the players and coaches who objected and said, no, we're not going to continue to play.
That's just how sick they are.
Well, it's about money.
Yeah.
And they do that with in every sport when there's an injury. And I get certain injuries. It's common that players will get injured, so it's not surprising. But even ESPN is doubling down from their story when they're stating that the NFL had initially planned to resume Monday night's football game, and the NFL denies the claim, but ESPN is sticking to the story. NFL postponed Monday's game between the Bills and Cincinnati Bengals following an off-field injury. And ESPN first reported during Monday's telecast after Hamlin was taken off the field in an ambulance that the first quarter would resume after both teams were giving a 5-minute warm-up notice. That never materialized, and the league said it never considered restarting the game. Troy Vincent, who is the NFL Executive Vice President of Football Operations, said, it never crossed our mind to talk about warming up to resume play. That's ridiculous. It's insensitive, and that's not a place that we should ever be in. Now Vincent stated he was emotional on Wednesday and apologized for being short with his answer from the previous day, but said it was just so insensitive to think that we were even thinking about returning to play. But ESPN, in a statement Wednesday, is sticking by its original story. They stand by it. They said there was constant communication in real time between ESPN and league and game officials. As you know, Monday Night Football comes on ESPN. It comes on ABC, which is the parent, all are under the Disney umbrella. Joe Buck, who's ESPN's Monday Night Football announcer, told the New York Times in an interview Tuesday that he received reporting from John Perry, ESPN's officiating analyst. Buck said Perry is an open line of communication with the league office in New York. It's our obligation to give the information we are provided by the NFL. And as a result of that, I'm going back reading ESPN's statement, not Buck's. We reported what we were told in the moment, immediately updated fans as new information was learned. Now, perhaps they didn't know the gravity at that time of what Damar Hamlin's injury was, although we all saw it on TV. And they're reporting that he had to be revived. We didn't actually see that, but we all knew when the ambulance is out on the field, it's bad. Usually they take somebody off in a cart when they're injured and they give a thumbs up. You didn't see that. You saw somebody actually faint. Someone fainted and collapsed because their heart wasn't working. And Skip Bayless has always been a douchebag. But this is what, this is what these people think of you, black men. And if Shannon Sharpe, remember what happened last time we were here when Skip Bayless disrespects Shannon Sharpe. This is his second time doing it. And you can tell from looking at the video, Shawn, Shannon had enough. Shannon was fed up. But Shannon Sharpe won't leave undisputed. We talked about it last week when he said when they're fighting over Tom Brady. Because think about that. If Tom Brady had collapsed, you think Skip Bayless would have put out a tweet like that?
I doubt it.
Remember when he attacked Shannon over and said, Shannon's like, I'm in the effing Hall of Fame. And Skip was like, so what? Brady was 10 times better than you. Remember he said that? And Skip Bayless has never played professional sports. So how is he an analyst? He kept Terrell Owens, he was one of the people that kept Terrell Owens out of the Hall of Fame. And regardless of how you feel about Terrell Owens personally, that mug put up Hall of Fame numbers. He is a Hall of Famer. Period. So next, I want to talk about this, Shawn. So if you got any more to say on it, or are you finished?
No, I'm about finished with it.
Well, I do want to actually just still get in the realm of sports. Did you hear out in over the New Year's Eve, Dana White and his wife got into it where he slapped his wife after she slapped him at a New Year's Eve party, and it was recorded by someone on their phone. TMZ even reported it. What did you think? I don't know if you've seen this. You probably haven't, but we're going to see if I can play that clip. But it got some type of heated argument that happened, but they didn't explain the fight. But basically, Dana White was trying to explain, talking about he was drinking and so forth. They both were drinking. I want to share it with you. Now, clearly, she gets him first. She slaps him, right?
Yeah.
And then he retaliated. Now, I'm going to talk about that in a second, but let's hear. You don't really hear too much about this on news like you did 8-10 years ago from what happened with Ray Rice. Nobody is talking about stripping Dana White of his ownership of his presidency with the UFC. But Dana White had something to say about what happened.
You know, you've heard me say for years, there's never, ever an excuse for a guy to put his hands on a woman. And now here I am on TMZ talking about it. But my wife and I have been married for almost 30 years. We've known each other since we were 12 years old. We've obviously been through some shit together. And we've got 3 kids. And, you know, this is one of those situations that's, you know, horrible. I'm embarrassed, but it's also one of those situations that is, you know, right now we're more concerned about our kids. You know, we have 3 kids, and you know, obviously, since the video popped up, we've shown the kids the video, and you know, we're more focused on our family right now. People are going to have opinions on this, and most of the people's opinions would be right, and especially in my case, you don't put your hands on a woman ever. My wife and I obviously love each other. We've been together for a very long time. We've known each other since we were very little, and this is just one of those unfortunate situations.
You were at a place in Cabo that.
All right. Now, Dana White, we go back, Shawn, to 2014. How many of you remember this story? Or let me refresh your memory. How many of you remember this man? This is Ray Rice. He was a former running back for the Baltimore Ravens. He was with the team during their Super Bowl run in Super Bowl 43 when they played in New Orleans. He actually, no, I said Super Bowl 40. Yeah, was it? I'm trying to remember what Super Bowl, yeah. No, this is Super Bowl 48. I apologize. Super Bowl 48. I knew my numerals were wrong. And no, 40. No, I'm wrong again. It's Super Bowl 47 because I know 2 I's and the V both equal 7. So X is 10, and this is supposed to be 50. So minus that, yeah. So Super Bowl 47, and he won a ring with him. He was with the team from 2008 to 2013. And after a domestic violence incident that was shown with his fiancee, then wife, now wife, Janae Palmer, they both were arrested and charged with assault and physical altercation. TMZ had released the video of Rice and Palmer hitting each other before they went on the elevator, and Rice, of course, Rice steps out of the elevator with his girlfriend, his fiance, then wife, who's knocked out. And I'm going to be real with you. It was terrible looking at it. But because he walked out like a sack of potatoes. But the NFL, everybody knew what happened because Ray Rice didn't lie. His wife didn't lie. The authorities reported it. It went to court. His wife, his girlfriend had spat on him actually and slapped him. He slaps her. And when there was another altercation, I believe in the elevator, is when he slaps her and she ends up tripping and hitting her head on that elevator railing. And as a result, now that video wasn't released until, and I remember it, the start of the preseason in 2014. But when it was released, these feminist groups and people were calling for an immediate suspension for Ray Rice was public enemy number 1. And Dana White was one of the people calling for Ray Rice's head. He said, quote, "You don't bounce back from putting your hands on a woman." He was asked and said, quote, "It's a tough one. First of all, the video is horrifying, absolutely horrifying. You're talking about a guy who's been in the fight business since he was 19 years old. It's the most disturbing thing you will ever see. The thing that's just as bad as the punch is that he shows no remorse after he does it. You know, if you did something in anger and you go, 'Oh my God, what did I do?' That's none of that with this guy. I don't know all the ins and outs of what Roger Goodell did or knew or how it was handled, but it's definitely bad. I can tell you this: I wouldn't want to be Roger Goodell." He's always said, "I'm one of those guys," he heard me say for years, "there's never ever an excuse for a guy to put his hands on a woman." Now here I am on TMZ talking about it. People are going to have their opinions on this, and most of the people's opinions would be right, especially in my case. You don't put your hands on a woman ever. Well, let's change that. Nobody should put their hands on anybody, period. Assault is assault. Battery is battery. Now, I'm a gentleman myself. Yes, I don't believe in touching ladies, and I'm not going to touch a female just because she says something I didn't like, or she just slaps me or slaps me and it didn't hurt. I probably would not. But there have been situations, I can tell you, as a public defender, in cases I've known, even as a criminal defense lawyer, where I have had to represent women who beat the crap out of their men. Women can be just as abusive as men in a lot of relationships. But we live in a time where I believe a lot of women are entitled, that they use that notion a man can never put his hands on a woman to their advantage to get away with certain things. Not saying all of it is right, not saying all of it happens all the time to women, but that is a reality. Now, I want to share this. I stated earlier, Shawn, a lot of people aren't talking about the Ray Rice thing, but guess who decided to warn Dana White that he was going to be speaking on this today? Mr. Bojangles. Stephen Bojangles Smith. Captain Save a White Man himself.
Yep.
He said he warned Dana White before addressing wife slap on First Take. He's a friend. He knew ahead of time. I reached out to him to let him know I would be talking about this morning. He knows he crossed the line. Now, Stephen A. Smith, remember when I talk about Ray Rice, he got suspended for virtually saying that women, about how women have to watch themselves around men, basically saying, "Don't start nothing, won't be nothing." Essentially, in those words, and a lot of people were taken aback by what he said. Well, I wasn't, because I understood what he was trying to convey about how women have to watch themselves around men, being careful. He's just basically saying no warning signs, right?
Yeah.
Understand when a man tells you shove off, let it be. Because men respond physically. I think it's safe to say men respond physically more than women. Is that a good way of saying that?
Yeah.
Okay. Men will respond in a physical manner more than females will typically. And three things you don't do with a man: you don't mess with his women, you don't mess with his money, and you don't mess with his manhood. Children would be on that list as well, but I'm just talking in terms of specifically relationships and as it relates to him. Those are the three things you don't miss. But Stephen A. Smith warned Dana White he was going to be talking about this. I'm going to play the video. But I don't want to, of course, I'm going to get it. Hold on a second.
Like this.
they're gonna put a copyright strike on us if we play this video. So what I'm gonna do is like we did earlier. I'm gonna just make sure you hear the audio. All of this is fair use, by the way. All the videos and clips that I've put, I've had that copyright disclaimer plugged in, right? So it's all fair use.
We have to maintain consistency in pointing out you do not put your hands on a woman if you are a man. You do not do it. Dana White knows that. And, you know, all I can say is that he has spoken out against men who put their hands on women before. And whatever punishment you would exact under these circumstances to somebody else is what he should apply to himself. But I love him.
See him doing something even stricter just because he's the leader, you know, and he's the leader of men. So just to your point, not just what's enacted to a fighter, but maybe a little stiffer because he's the head. I just want to say a couple of things. They talked about being drinking heavily. When you're under the influence, not shining moments, often people don't make their best decisions. So in that sense, it's a cautionary tale. And in terms of it being an isolated incident, I've known Dana since he's 22, have the utmost respect for him. And I don't judge people by their worst moment. I agree with you on that punishment part. And the other piece that I just want to say, as a woman, it was also his wife's hands on him. So no one should be putting their hands on anyone. Male.
Oh my God. But they weren't saying this shit with Ray Rice. And I listened to Molly. Molly, she's the biggest hypocrite because they were talking about Kyrie Irving. I don't judge people at their worst moment. You judge Kyrie Irving over a jab mandate. You judge Kyrie Irving for sending a tweet that just had a link in it. So why should I give Skip Bayless a pass when you do it to us? Why should I give you Dana White a pass? He's a hypocrite.
Female.
Well, you're absolutely right. I don't disagree. I have nothing to add other than I just think it's important that if you're going to sit on this platform, you owe it to your audience to be honest and forthcoming. Dana White is not just somebody I know in sports, nor you. He's a friend.
Yeah.
I love him. And I just wish the best for him and his family. And, you know, he knows, he knows how wrong he was to do this. And he knows that we're on this air. He knew ahead of time because I reached out to him to let him know I would be talking about this morning. He knows that he crossed the line that he has never crossed before and that he swears he will never cross again. And he's incredibly ashamed of himself. And that's just where we are right now. So
I'm not a part of the whole cancel culture, and I don't judge people by their worst moment. And he's a beautiful family.
Full of shit. Shawn, I've talked long. Why don't you give your thoughts on this?
Well, this whole Dana White situation just shows the hypocrisy of your white supremacists. And your Dana White is just a white supremacist who wants to go out here and get away with his domestic violence because he's white and he says so. It's okay to go out here and denounce your Kyrie Irving as related to a jab mandate and destroy his life. It's okay to destroy the life of a Ray Rice after him going out here and participating in what I believe to be self-defense. But when he goes out here and participates in domestic violence, it's perfectly fine. And just again, these two black men have their lives destroyed. And in the case of Ray Rice, his entire career basically ended as a result of just one incident. But your Dana White, we're supposed to give him a pass. And we're supposed to give him a pass because when a white man does stuff, it's perfectly fine. But a black man, he has to wind up losing his career like Ray Rice did and being just vilified as a villain. But we're supposed to empathize with the white man. Again, what the media really spins the story with your Dana White. They try to bury the story. And it's really troubling because you had all these white feminists out here talking about stop domestic violence and stop this violence against women. And you had all these women in the Me Too movement talking about stopping all this stuff. But when it's a white man, you don't hear from any of the feminists. You don't hear from any of the Me Too movement. You don't hear from any of these people. No, you don't hear a single word about anything from these people unless it's a heterosexual black man in an incident. Then you want to have people going out here marching and protesting, talking about taking away their job, taking away their ability to make a living, making all sorts of allegations to demonize these black men. But the white man, he can go out here, slap a woman right in a room full of people, have it recorded on video, and we're supposed to be sympathetic to the white man. Again, shows the racial double standard as related to the American people and how full of it and how hypocritical they are. Oh, when Dana White goes out here and abuses a woman, oh, he's going to talk about, oh, it's not right to hit a woman, but he's not going to be punished. I mean, he's still going to be making money off of UFC, but the black men, they have to wind up losing their careers and their livelihoods, and their lives are never the same. Double standard, as I see it, as related to your so-called domestic violence. You want to give the white man a pass, but the black man, you want to punish him to the fullest extent and destroy his life. Meanwhile, your Dana White, a man who runs the UFC, has allowed anti-black racists to go out here and continue participating in racist behavior. And this domestic violence just basically shows how much of a sewer his entire organization is, because this culture that he has is basically just a white supremacy all around. And that white supremacy just shows us how your Dana White is basically another white supremacist who's from the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I don't really follow UFC like talking about. I don't really watch it. But I know a lot of those guys there. I mean, look, they've had a lot of UFC fighters in trouble with stuff. Conor McGregor has gotten into issues, had his issues. So has, you remember the guy War Machine who raped his girlfriend?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was with UFC. I believe he was with UFC, if I could be wrong. Yeah. He nearly killed her.
But they all get a pass.
We didn't hear anything about this. Yeah, he beat the crap out of a beautiful woman, by the way. And that was around 2014. Nobody said anything about this.
Nope.
Yeah, he got life imprisonment for that. But yeah, Dana White, yeah, I think he's scum. And let's not forget, he's always talked shit about Floyd Mayweather. He and Floyd Mayweather don't like each other. They've had back and forth. That's War Machine. You remember? So he got caught in a lie, but I wanted to ask you, what did you think of ESPN? And what
they're just spinning things like they usually do.
And Stephen A. Smith with what he did, reaching out to him.
They're just spinning things, and he's just doing the usual bootlicking, which is what he does.
Yeah, it's so disgraceful at this point. But look, never forget, he doesn't think he takes shots at Floyd, and now he takes shots at his wife.
Yep.
Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, man. Everybody hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Gloria Allbred, Lisa Bloom, T1, Harvey Levin, touching further on the subject. No, they won't. Now, I had a friend that was in MMA, one of my colleagues. So, not knocking, he wasn't in the UFC, but he did mixed martial arts. And he's actually he's an attorney as well. So, he was doing that while he was in law school. But he was pretty damn good at it as well. Now, final thing I want to talk about, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. But yeah, let's get old penis head off of here. Final thing I want to talk about, Sean. Lastly, yeah, Stephen A is afraid to relive the Michelle Beadle situation. Yeah, he needs that paycheck. But you notice something too, just to get back on that, Sean, he needs that paycheck to keep that, see if he can keep his line from going back any further. But you know something, Sean, what I was gonna say is that now it slipped my mind. Yeah, okay, no, it came back. The media is not gonna react to a woman hitting a man. Do you think it's a double standard? Do you think because when you see stuff, I guess Bryce and his wife or his fiance when she slapped him, nobody talked about that. People were saying, "Oh, there was no excuse. There's no reason." Do you think women get a pass?
They do get a pass because if we have an issue as related to domestic violence, women should not be putting their hands on men. And you sit there and complain about the men putting hands on women. And again, that's a double standard because I talk about this in the woman crisis. You know, a lot of times women start stuff and then what they do is when the guy reacts, then they want to play the victim. But nobody wants to talk about that part of the whole story as related to domestic violence. But both parties should not be putting hands on each other. If things are getting personal or getting heated, you both need to just walk away from each other and you need to leave each other alone and cool off until you can go out here and work things out.
Yeah. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Final thing I want to talk about, Sean, did you see this? Rolling Stone magazine has put out its 200 greatest folk singers of all time. It was released on Monday, I believe. And many people, it has gotten some criticism from some people because there are artists that have been left out. In particular, on this list, if we're talking vocalists, Nat King Cole didn't even make this list. Anita Baker didn't even make this list. They have people like Rosalia, who I've never heard of, who's 200. Glenn Danzig. They got Billie Eilish. But most important to everybody that was watching this list and was curious, I mean, these are people I haven't even heard before. But if you look at the list, number 86, surprisingly, was none other than the king of pop, the world's greatest entertainer, Michael Jackson. And a lot of people were, and people on Twitter were trending, you know, of course, Nicole going hard on it. She's going to go hard. But a lot of people were taken aback that Mike was ranked that low. And he's one of the best-selling artists of all time. Now, to me, and I'm going to be talking about this more on Sunday because I got a surprise guest that's coming on. We're discussing. They got Winehouse ahead of him. Now, there was a lot of stuff I didn't like about this list as well because while I could see some people being on here, I don't know about Rihanna as a great singer. Top 60, no. But they got Barry White, they got Tina Turner. But do you know that they had Bob Dylan ahead of Luther Vandross? Bob Dylan. They got Joni Mitchell, Rod Stewart. By the way, Rod Stewart idolized Sam Cooke. He idolized David Ruffin, and David Ruffin, I believe, was in the 60s. David should be higher than that. They got Tony Braxton, 48, Linda Ronstadt, Mavis Staples, Ella Fitzgerald, James Brown at 44. The most influential artist of all time is James Brown, bar none. Hip hop is here because of James Brown. He's the most sampled artist in history. Am I right? One of at least.
You're right.
One. Huh?
I said you're right.
Period. Now, They got Luther Vandross, number 31. They got Hank Williams ahead of Luther. Now, if you're talking about vocalists, Luther Vandross could sing a song and give you shivers. He could sing ABCs and put soul behind it. Same thing with Marvin Gaye. He could get sweat by singing ABC 1, 2, 3. Am I right?
Yeah.
They got Smokey, 23. They got Adele above Smokey. Marvin is 20. Sinatra, 19. The Cruz, Elvis Presley, Prince. They got Bob Dylan at 15. Freddie Mercury, 14. Patsy Cline, 13. John Lennon, 12. Little Richard, 11. Now, some moist dude on ESPN was talking to Pleasure P about the fact that there were no white artists on in the top 10. And Pleasure P even scoffed at it. Now, I can't play the video because TMZ will give me their little bogus copyright strike. But I can play the audio for you, and we'll see if they do that. But I want to make a comment about the reason why there are no black artists. I'm sorry, why there are no white artists in the top 10. But let's play this video right quick. Okay?
One of the dopest.
Because Celine Dion.
200 greatest singers of all time. Yeah, I wasn't impressed. Oh, you weren't impressed? I wasn't impressed. It's a lot of people missing, but it's a lot of great people on there as well. So I can't just, yes, it's like hit or miss. Who was missing that should have been on? I feel like Anita Baker for sure should have been, and a few others too. I would have to look at the list again and tell you off the top of my head, but I was like, wow, why not Anita Baker or... Everyone's saying Celine Dion was the biggest snub. That's a big snub. I mean, listen, Celine Dion, she represents Miami very well, and she has a perfect pitch. So when she sings, she never goes off key or anything. So yeah, she's like one of the dopest ever. So yeah, I think that's a big snub as well. So how can do you think they forgot about her, or they on purpose, said she's not got a good voice, or what? I don't know. Who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? Maybe they just don't know music enough. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they just don't know the right singers to pick. I don't know, but that's a big snub. It is, huh? Also, the top 11, no white people. No white people in the top 11. The first one was John Lennon at 12. Yeah, what do you think that says? That, I don't know. I think it... I mean, listen, everybody is... You know what I mean? Everybody is... It's supposed to be an equal thing. I mean, when it's the Grammys, when there's too many white people, black people get mad. When there's too many white people, it's it's messed up how it is. It should be a mixture of everything, but I guess you just got to see it how you see it, Because John Lennon, he's a good singer and all, but he's not even that. He's not even that amazing, To somebody he is. To somebody he is. He's legendary too. But do you think that people of color got better voices than white folks? Absolutely not. I think that everybody got to go. We all have to go by the same rules of music. You know what I'm saying? Pitch, melody, things like that. So no, I don't think that's bullshit.
So he tried to come with this "we are one" bullshit. First off, let me just say my issue with it. The list. There's another name he mentioned that's not on this list, ladies and gentlemen. Philip Bailey of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Great vocal. Listen to his song. Listen to Reasons. Him singing live, Reasons. He should be on there. I don't think Eddie Kendricks of the Temptations, if I'm looking at this list, was even mentioned. All of the white singers, now they got Beyonce at number 8, Shawn. I can't even see that. Now, all the white singers, there's a reason why I think also you couldn't put a lot of white singers in the top 10, and that's because the white singers, it's not even comparing to the black artists, it's the fact that the black artists that you can think of, they idolized those people. The Beach Boys idolized Chuck Berry. The Rolling Stones idolized Chuck Berry and Little Richard. and Fats Domino. The Beatles, when they came to New Orleans, the first thing they wanted to do was meet Fats Domino. Elvis Presley called Fats Domino the true king. He bowed to Little Richard. He called Little Richard his hero. Freddie Mercury impersonator before he joined Queen. Rock and roll was created by black people. Hell yeah, we #1. Hell yeah, we in the top 10. And the rules weren't, and don't act like the rules were the same for all of us, because when they had rock and roll started, they had something called the race charts. It's called R&B now, but there wasn't a pop chart. You know, it's pop and R&B now, but R&B wasn't called R&B. It was called black charts or race charts. They did that to segregate black people. It was always segregated up until Chuck Berry, when they played Maybelline for the first time, and Little Richard's Tutti Frutti. That's how that all changed. Am I right?
You're right.
But what your thoughts on what Pleasure P was saying and this Rolling Stone magazine? Do you agree with this list?
I disagree with that list completely. That list is just bullshit as I see it, because when I look at that whole list, it's just subjective, and it looks like some millennials' view of what they consider to be the top artists without ever listening to the music. I mean, as somebody who has listened to a lot of this music, I just look at that whole list as somebody's subjective opinion. And your Rolling Stone basically lost all credibility with that entire list, with not even objectively looking at people's voices, people's body of work. And really, I take that list has no credibility whatsoever as I see it. In fact, it tarnishes the images of your Rolling Stone as America's premier music magazine, because if you can't even get the list for your history of music right, and you can't even put icons in your top 10 like Michael Jackson and James Brown and many others, that whole list is embarrassing to that publication, because clearly somebody was just putting their opinions up there and didn't put any objective research into any of that list at all. So that whole list is just complete garbage as I see it, and basically is a complete joke. It's something I wouldn't even want to even have in my own magazine. If I was the editor-in-chief of Rolling Stone, I would be putting out an apology for that garbage that they call your top 200 musicians, because anybody who knows music could have put together a much better list of 200 singers and given you 200 great voices in the right order.
Yeah. But this is where your Ebony and Jet magazine would come in handy, when they would come up with when we didn't need validation from Rolling Stone. Remember, Rolling Stone wouldn't put a black person on their cover until Michael Jackson in the 1980s.
Yep.
I don't look
That's
for
a garbage magazine.
Huh?
That's why it's a garbage magazine.
Yeah. And let me ask you, so what did you think of what Pleasure P had to say?
I don't know. I wasn't really paying too much attention to him, but I just find the whole list.
Well, let me rephrase it. When they were talking about the white stars not in the top 10, the reporter was asking him that. Do you think black people or colored people have better voices than white artists?
Well, it was a lot of black people who invented a lot of these genres of music. That's why they should be in the top 10, because, yes, there are talented white artists out there, and they didn't even mention a lot. They didn't mention even a lot of the white artists who had great singing voices. I mean, the whole list is just, again, as I said, complete garbage, because it wasn't objective. It was very subjective. And the whole thing is, a lot of these black musicians should be at least in the top 10, because they were inventing genres of music. And a lot of these singers were creating new styles with their voice. They were creating different tones. I mean, they need to be in the top 10 because they've made great contributions to music, and that's why they should be in the top 10 based on merit.
Yeah, based on merit. I said Torian Rain is going to be talking about his the list in his premiere video. That's good. And I have hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. I have a special announcement to make because I'm going to be talking about this list as well with a special person coming up this Sunday at a special time at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time Pacific, ladies and gentlemen. We have someone from the music industry that's going to be coming on. And I don't know if I need to make the announcement now or should I hold it for Sunday, but this is going to be one of the biggest interviews we've had in a while on this channel. So y'all just need to tune in. You think I should announce it right now?
I think you should if you want to get people to look at it
So if
on
you want
Sunday.
people to tune in at 9 o'clock, yes, on Sunday. This is big, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's right, because I want y'all to tune in at 9 o'clock because we have one of the members of the first family of entertainment, the Jackson family, coming to our broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we finally got him. Mr. Taj Jackson is coming to G Boot 2786. He's coming to Random Topic Sundays. I spoke with Taj. He's going to be in the building Sunday night. Y'all don't want to miss it. This Sunday at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, Taj Jackson will be joining the broadcast, a member of 3T. We're going to be talking about this Rolling Stone list, and I'm going to ask, of course, about his career, but I want to talk about Michael. We're going to talk about his uncle and his father, how they've been doing. But y'all don't want to miss this coming up. This is going to be a great one. So tune in, set that like, hit that notification bell, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that like, share, or subscribe button. That's going to be a good one, Sean.
It should be a classic.
That's going to be a good one. Todd Jackson coming in the building. Y'all don't hear me. We got 3T, Mr. 3T himself. So make sure you hit that notification bell, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all don't want to miss that. That's going to be a good one. Darius from Atlanta is excited. Danielle, I don't know if she's going to be able to stay up, but that's going to be a special one, y'all. Y'all don't want to miss that. We're going to talk about this garbage magazine, Rolling Stone, and I'm going to ask Taj a bunch of questions. If you got questions for him, we can do a Q&A as well. So, yes, that's right. Tito's son. This is Tito's, I think this is Tito's middle son, because Tito had 3 boys. He had Taj, there was Terrio, and there was Tito. So, you know, Nicole has been friends with Taj and so forth and the family, but we're happy to have him come on. That's going to be great, Sean.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And, you know, and I'm going to ask questions and he's going to talk about the impact his uncle had. Yeah, Michael should, without a doubt, be in the top 10. Now, I'm going to be real with you, do I think Michael could outsing Aretha Franklin? No. Was he better than Luther? I don't think he was better than Luther or Marvin, but he damn sure was better than Bob Dylan. Same thing with Prince. Same thing with James Brown. Jackie Wilson should have been higher because he took you higher and higher. Right?
Yeah.
Sam Cooke. Oh my God, I could go on. Darling, you send me. I know you send me. I know that you send me. Honest you do, honest you do, honest you do. Whoa, you thrill me. All right, that's enough. That was a great song. Yeah, we'll mention his charity. I'm gonna get all of that together, but this is great. This is gonna be big. So, in the meantime, if you want to support me, buy The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby on Kindle. I also, Computer Robots asked about doing the Unsolved. We are trying to bring that back. The man I was doing, person I was doing it, Al Lanier, was not a lawyer. Let me just say, he was a private investor. He was a journalist. He is a journalist. And that's another story I won't get into about why we haven't done it, but we may bring that back in a future date. But I'm handling some legal stuff as we speak with it as well. If you like to advertise, go to GavinRichardEsq@gmail.com and go to the Patreon as well to support me. If you love this podcast, try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nani's goes great with every dish. Get you some Nani's Creole seasoning. And of course, we got to support our brother, Shawn James, with his endeavors. Shawn has The Woman Crisis that's available on Amazon. Shawn has written over 80 plus books now, I think. But now, right, Shawn?
Yeah.
And we know Shawn was dodging circles around the Fox Soul crew. Everybody praises your interview about that, by the way. I was trying to look at it again. I caught the tail end of it.
You know, I was just standing up for black manhood and trying to present a positive image of blackness on that show.
No, I apologize. Todd is the oldest. So Todd is the oldest boy. Is the oldest boy from Tito's group. Yeah. Todd is the oldest. Terrell and Tito are younger. Yeah, I think Terrell was dating the Kardashian, was dating Kim. Ooh, that's a career killer. Don't do it, bro. Stay away from that. Huh. Not Shawn.
Yeah.
That Kardashian cooch is cursed.
Yep.
You lose your mind, you lose your mind, you get on drugs, or you lose your dick. One of the two. One of the three.
Yes, they're sirens.
I think they're witches. They marry their husband and turn them into frogs, like Red Fox used to say. Remember that?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, that's also great. The historical men in crisis and beta males. I watched the one you did on James Dean, I should say, because Jimmy and James Dean were two different people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And I forgot who's the other guy that was with James Dean. You did the companion.
I did Nick Adams.
Yeah,
because they were both rebels.
Yeah.
Nick Adams was copying James Dean. That's how he was a beta male. And your James Dean was a beta male because he basically had issues because his mother died when he was young.
Yeah.
Gonna be filming some more Hollywood historical men in crisis videos this
I think
week.
we're gonna do another Unsolved. I'll plan to do another one. I just want to make sure I have my legal stuff together with that. So I'll have new stuff, new things available before we do another one. But I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. Yeah. All right. Well, Shawn, I won't keep you. If you want to do another plug-in, you can.
Well, all right. I'm looking for my first paperback and ebook sale for the month of January and the 1st of 2023. So I'm asking everybody to go out here and pick up the latest John Haynes book, John Haynes at Death's Door, or some of the other books on the SJS Direct imprint. like the ISIS series or the Easting series, or my books like The Woman Crisis and The Man Crisis, I'd like to have a strong 2023, and I can only have a good year with book sales if you guys go out here and pick up the books on Amazon.com and other online booksellers.
All right. Well, guys, you can also purchase some songs by me on iTunes and Amazon. We have Video Soul and, of course, Gotta Get On Up, which is our theme song. So let's get on out of here, Sean. We've gotten back. Thank you, Sean. What's the live stream going to be about tomorrow? You know?
I'm pondering doing a goth live stream. I haven't done one of those in a while, so I might do that. Or I might do one about spellbound individuals. It depends on what I'm thinking about doing.
All right, cool. Sounds good. All right, bro. Thank you for tuning in. This has been another edition of GavinRichardEsq. Good night, everybody.
Come on.
Night.
Gotta dance to the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll live. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Now, 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so, if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the
floor, baby. Yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up, baby.
Feel Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Good night, guys.